Anne Boleyn, beheaded by the king who loved her. The Scaffold. May 19th, 1536, Tower of London, dawn. Anne Boleyn, 35 years old, Queen of England, walks toward the scaffold. A low wooden platform in the center of Tower Green, straw scattered on the ground, gray sky, heavy silence. 1,000 people watch. No one speaks. 3 years earlier, Henry VIII broke with the Catholic Church to marry her. Now, he ordered her death. The woman who changed England. To understand how Anne Boleyn reached that scaffold, you need to understand who she was. She wasn't born a queen, wasn't born a princess. She was born Anne Boleyn, daughter of an English diplomat. Educated at the French court since childhood, fluent in French, cultured, intelligent. In 1526, at 25 years old, she returned to England and became lady-in-waiting to Queen Catherine of Aragon. That's where King Henry VIII saw her for the first time. Anne wasn't the most beautiful woman at court. She wasn't blonde, didn't have the fair skin the Tudors valued. She had dark eyes, dark hair. But she had something no other woman possessed. Sharp intelligence, absolute confidence, French charm, and the ability to make the most powerful king in Europe feel ordinary. Henry became obsessed. And it wasn't a passing passion. Henry courted Anne for 7 years. 7 years of passionate letters, of promises, of waiting. He wrote to her like a lovesick teenager, signed his letters with a heart around their initials, sent gifts, hunted rare animals to impress her. Anne kept saying no, and that only made the obsession worse. He'd had affairs before, including with Anne's sister, Mary Boleyn, but Anne refused. When Henry offered to make her his official mistress with titles, lands, gifts, Anne said no. Either queen or nothing. Henry was willing to lose everything for her, and he did. He had been married to Catherine of Aragon for 24 years. They had one daughter, Mary, but no male heir. Henry asked the Pope to annul the marriage. The Pope refused. Henry did not accept the refusal. In 1533, Henry VIII did the unthinkable. He broke with the Catholic Church, created the Church of England, named himself supreme head of the church in the country. The rupture was catastrophic. The Pope excommunicated Henry. England became isolated. Allies became enemies. Henry didn't care. He had waited 7 years for Anne, lost alliances built over centuries, defied all of Europe, and now, finally, she would be queen. January 1533, secret marriage to Anne. June 1533, Anne crowned Queen of England. She had achieved everything. September 1533, Anne gave birth. Henry expected a boy. He had already chosen the name, Edward or Henry. A girl was born, Elizabeth. Henry's disappointment was devastating, visible. He didn't attend the baptism immediately. Anne promised the next would be a boy, but something had changed. Henry looked at her differently now, and time was starting to run out. The fall 1534 to 1535. Anne became pregnant again. Miscarriage. Henry began looking at other women at court. He no longer hid it. He openly courted ladies-in-waiting in front of Anne. Anne tried to maintain control. She confronted the king, shouted, demanded respect. But the more she demanded, the less power she had. She had made enemies, many. Catholics, Catherine's supporters, traditional nobility. Thomas Cromwell, the most powerful man at court after the king, had been Anne's ally. But now, he saw that the king was tired of her. January 29th, 1536. 2 events that day changed everything. First, Catherine of Aragon died. Second, Anne suffered a miscarriage. She was 15 weeks pregnant. The baby was a boy. Henry demanded to see the body. He entered the room, looked at the fetus, turned his back. He said only, "I see that God will not give me male children," and left. No comfort, no embrace, not a kind word. In that moment, Anne knew. She was lost. Jane Seymour, Anne's lady-in-waiting, young, docile, quiet, was already being openly courted by the king. Henry wanted to get rid of Anne. But how? Divorce would tarnish Elizabeth's legitimacy. Annulment would admit that the break with Rome had been a mistake. Thomas Cromwell received clear orders. Get rid of her. The solution? Death by treason. April 1536. Cromwell interrogated Mark Smeaton, a court musician. Under torture, Smeaton confessed to committing adultery with the Queen. Other names were added, including George Boleyn, Anne's brother. The accusations were absurd: adultery, treason, incest. No evidence, no reliable witnesses. But Cromwell didn't need proof. He only needed a death sentence. May 2nd, 1536. Anne was at a banquet when she was arrested, taken by boat down the Thames River to the Tower of London, placed in the same apartments where she had stayed before her coronation 3 years earlier. The irony was brutal. From crowned queen to condemned prisoner, in the same rooms. She already knew she wouldn't leave alive. The last days. Anne was imprisoned in the Tower for 17 days, watched 24 hours a day by 4 women appointed by Cromwell. Spies. Everything she said was reported to the king. Anne oscillated between despair and composure. Sometimes she screamed, declared her innocence. Other times, she remained in absolute silence, accepting the inevitable. May 15th, 1536. The trial. 2,000 spectators, 26 nobles as jury, all loyal to the king. The verdict had been decided before it began. Anne defended herself eloquently, denied everything, kept her voice steady. "I never betrayed the king, not with my body, nor with my heart." Useless. All 26 voted guilty. Even her own uncle voted for her condemnation. When Anne heard the verdict, something changed in her face. It wasn't surprise, it was acceptance. She already knew. Since the day of her arrest, perhaps since the day of the miscarriage, there was no way out. There never had been. But there was something more, something her enemies had spread through the corridors of the Tower, through the halls of the court, through the streets of London. Rumors of witchcraft. They invented that she had a 6th finger, the devil's mark, that she had bewitched the king, that the break with Rome was the work of evil. All lies, propaganda. But Anne knew. It didn't matter what she said. They had already decided what she was. That night, Henry commuted Anne's sentence. She wouldn't be burned alive. She would be beheaded. And he sent for a French swordsman from Calais, Jean Rambaud, a specialist. Not the English executioner with an axe, who frequently missed the blow. The sword was faster, more precise. A final gift from the king to the woman he had loved. May 18th, the eve of execution. Anne was strangely calm, almost serene. She practiced how to position her head. She commented to one of the women, "I hear the executioner is very good, and I have a small neck." She laughed, laughing at her own death, the only control she had left. May 19th, 1536. Dawn. Anne woke early, dressed carefully. A dark gray dress, ermine cloak, a white cap covering her hair completely, leaving her neck fully exposed. She picked up a purse with 20 pounds to pay the executioner and distribute to the poor. She was escorted by Kingston, commander of the Tower, to Tower Green. 1,000 people waited in silence. The low platform, scattered straw, cloudy sky, and then Anne saw. Dark stains on the straw, still fresh. 2 days earlier, 5 men had been executed there, in the same place, with the same false accusations. Her brother George was among them. She hadn't been able to say goodbye, hadn't seen the body, only heard the sound of the crowd. Now, she walked on the same ground where he died. Anne climbed slowly, each step deliberate. She stopped in the center of the scaffold. She looked at the crowd, familiar faces, nobles who had bowed to her. Now, they came to watch her die. She spoke with a clear voice, steady. "Good Christian people, I have come here to die according to law. I submit to the will of the king, my lord." Pause. "If in my life I offended the king's grace, certainly with my death I make amends now." She continued. "I ask that you pray for the life of the king, my sovereign lord, who is one of the best princes on the face of the earth, and who has always treated me so well." The last sentence almost broke. Almost. The crowd listened in silence, some confused. Why was she praising the king who was killing her? There were reasons. Tradition. Those condemned for treason had to praise the king before dying. But also, protection. If Anne died proclaiming innocence, accusing the king, Elizabeth would be seen as a traitor's daughter, a bastard. Praising the king was protecting her daughter. Anne Boleyn's final political act. She finished. I submit to death willingly, humbly asking forgiveness from all the world. She turned to the swordsman, Jean Rambaud, Frenchman from Calais, dressed in black. He knelt before her. Forgive me for what I must do, my lady. Anne looked at him, without anger, without fear. I do so willingly. She handed him the purse. She removed her cloak, knelt on the straw, slowly, with dignity. She adjusted her skirt, positioned her knees. She looked at the sky one last time, cloudy, gray, cold. She began to repeat in a low voice, eyes closed. Jesus, receive my soul. Jesus, receive my soul. The swordsman positioned himself to her left. He made a discreet gesture to his assistant. The assistant shouted something in the distance. Where's the sword? Anne turned her head instinctively to the right. In that instant, the blow came from the left, horizontal, instantaneous. Anne Boleyn's head separated from her body. It rolled on the straw. So fast that many in the crowd didn't even notice the exact moment. Absolute silence. Anne's body was placed in a wooden coffin without inscription, her head beside it, buried in the Tower Chapel, St. Peter ad Vincula, without ceremony, without official mourning, without pomp. Henry VIII did not attend the execution. On the morning of May 19th, he was hunting. When he learned that Anne was dead, he visited Jane Seymour. The next day, he was smiling, making plans for the new marriage. 11 days later, he married, as if Anne had never existed. No one came out whole. Jane Seymour gave Henry what he wanted, a male son, Edward, born in October 1537. She died 12 days after childbirth. The boy died at 15 years old, sick, fragile, without leaving heirs. Elizabeth, Anne's daughter, was declared a bastard, removed from the line of succession, raised away from court, forgotten. But in 1558, Elizabeth became queen. She reigned for 45 years, transformed England into a global power, defeated the Spanish Armada, presided over the English Golden Age, Shakespeare, science, exploration, the Elizabethan era. Anne Boleyn didn't live to see it, but the daughter for whom she died with dignity became one of the greatest queens in history. The Tudor dynasty, which Henry had fought so hard to preserve, ended with Elizabeth, the daughter of the woman he ordered killed. No one came out whole. Anne Boleyn lost everything because she couldn't give the king what he wanted. Nicholas Romanov lost everything because he couldn't give the people what they needed. Two people, two empires, one same illusion, that power would protect them forever. The most powerful czar in the world. He ruled 130 million people, 1/6 of the Earth's surface. He believed divine will protected him, that the empire was too vast, too strong to fall, until a single event changed everything. In a matter of months, the 300-year-old empire collapsed. The Tsar, who commanded millions, became a prisoner. And when the end came, it came in a way no one expected. Tsar Nicholas II, from 130 million subjects to an execution. You can find the link on screen now and in the first pinned comment. If you want to keep watching stories about the exact moment everything collapses, subscribe to the channel and share it with people who also think about these historical ironies. Leave your comment down below. See you in the next video.